Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This evening I have yet another movie review, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This is a horror film from Canada, English language, released in the year 2012, directed by Christopher McBride, and this movie is called The Conspiracy. And the story of The Conspiracy is as follows. Two ambitious young filmmakers embark on a documentary about conspiracy theorists. They strike gold with the seemingly unhinged Terence, someone who screams into a bullhorn at strangers and whose apartment walls are lined with clippings from newspapers. When Terence disappears without warning, Aaron, the more intrigued of the filmmakers compared to the logical family man Jim, is compelled to piece together the clues and remnants left behind in the wake of Terence's disappearance. What starts as a portrait of comical lunacy emerges into a chilling cover-up of monumental proportions. The conspiracy scales the precarious divide between the truth and fiction, and in doing so explores and exhausts the drama inherent in our discoveries. So, Aaron and Jim are two aspiring documentary filmmakers. You've got Aaron, who's the more ambitious younger one, and then you've got the family logical Jim. So they go and they're going to do a documentary about conspiracy theorists. So they interview this guy named Terence. Now, Terence has been known around the place to be a little bit of a lunatic. He stands up in the streets and uses a foghorn to basically talk about his rambling on about how the government have us as slaves, how the 9/11 was an inside job, and everyone just dismisses this as rubbish. So they're documenting his life. They get an insight into inside his house. He's got all of his walls aligned with paper clippings, newspaper reports, and he's piecing together everything, and he believes that he's onto something that he's going to bring the government down. So as the movie progresses, more and more insights given into Terence's life. You've got experts talking about their opinions, and then all of a sudden Terence goes missing without trace. He's basically just fallen off the face of the planet. So Aaron, the more ambitious filmmaker, believes something happened because you just don't disappear. And he feels that maybe Terence is onto something. So he gets all of the newspaper clippings off Terence's wall and he pieces together something. Now this uncovers a terrifying secret linked to powers well beyond our control. And as a result of that, he has put not only his life, but Jim and Jim's family's life in grave danger. So whether or not they can come out of this ordeal in one piece, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on The Conspiracy. This is not just another found footage horror film. Now, found footage subgenre, I love it. And I think when it's done right, it's the best form of horror. But the problem with found footage horror films is it's very repetitive. It's basically about a group of idiots holding a video camera, documenting every single detail that they go through. Even when they're going through absolutely terrifying moments, they still have the know-how how to basically document everything. So it doesn't feel like it's just someone with a video camera. It feels like it's a movie. It feels like they're just using a video camera, but ultimately it's a director, because how would you document absolutely everything when you're completely terrified? So that's something I don't like about that, but I think that when it's done right, it is very good. But unfortunately, a lot of these films are very repetitive, and you're constantly asking questions as to why you're doing this, why aren't you doing that? So coming into The Conspiracy, I was thinking the same thing. I was just hoping that the story would capture me and that I could overlook the repetitiveness that is the found footage subgenre. But I was pleasantly surprised to see that The Conspiracy Theory, not Conspiracy Theory, that's an entirely different film, but The Conspiracy, it takes found footage to another level. Now, for the most part, it isn't a found footage film. So if you're a found footage fanatic, you might not like this film. But what I liked about it is that, yes, it does use found footage, but the majority of it is a documentary. It feels like a documentary, and although ultimately it is not a true story, it's basically taking, elements from real conspiracy theorists, putting it into a film, and making it feel authentic. So Terence is the main character in the film, not the main character, but the person of interest for the main characters, and his conspiracy theories are real conspiracy theories, and they're talking about it. You've got experts in the movie talking about conspiracy theorists, what makes them tick, what they're trying to achieve, how conspiracy theories, their theories are never proven totally wrong. Therefore, it leaves it open for discussion. How a lot of people consider, these people as lunatics. They just dismiss it, therefore turn a blind eye to it. And then, the documentary is really, really interesting, which is ultimately what the movie had to be. Interesting, because it is very slow burning. And without an interesting story, it wouldn't have worked, because you would have just been waiting for the horror. But it captures you. The conspiracy theories surrounding JFK, you've got 9/11, the war in Iraq, all that kind of stuff, and it makes you think about stuff that we don't associate with that. We always like to associate us as the good guys, that we never do anything wrong. And when some people are proven wrong, when United States or Australia or Britain, when they do an atrocity in the war, like maybe kill civilians or whatever, we're always shocked. And those pictures from I can't remember where it was, but the pictures with the American soldiers posing with tortured prisoners of war, that shocked us all, and we weren't expecting that. So that's the kind of thing that conspiracy theorists try and show us, is that they're trying to tell you, whether or not they're insane or not, but they're trying to tell you that we're not always great. We're not always, the good guys. It's not always black and white. And it's that grey area where conspiracy theorists like to go. And so when you're seeing the other side of September 11, being an inside job, that the United States wanted these terrorists to strike them so they could pose war upon that country. So all that kind of stuff, I'm not saying whether it's true or not. I'm not trying to get into a conspiracy theory, but that's what the film shows you. And that's why it's so interesting, because you're seeing the point of view on the other end. And Terrence, while he came across as a complete lunatic, none of his stories could be proven wrong. So that is what I liked about it. It leaves it up to discussion, and you're constantly just thinking amongst yourself, this could have happened, this could have happened. Yeah, he makes sense here, he makes sense there, a little bit crazy here, but all of it gels together to make something really interesting. And the first half of the movie really had me captured. And then it comes to the second half, which is the more traditional horror film, and this is where it could have made or break the film. And thankfully, the last quarter of the movie was absolutely phenomenal. This is where it does take a found footage approach, and it was completely relentless. And it was just a beautiful payoff for what was a very intriguing first half. The second half does take a different turn, but I thought it was really, really rewarding. Then it has a very ambiguous ending where you can make your own interpretation initially. Now, I'm not going to give anything away because it's definitely a movie you have to go in there with little knowledge. But after the movie finished, I thought, yeah, that's my initial response. That's what I make of the film. But then I remember what characters said earlier in the movie, and that contradicts what I initially thought. So I go back and I think to myself, yeah, that could have happened, this could have happened, or that could have happened. And it makes you think constantly, and that's exactly what the film was trying to do, and that's what the film does. It leaves clues for you as the movie goes along, then when the ending hits you, it makes it unclear as to what's happened, and you make your own conspiracy theory up. And that is the beauty of the movie. That's how intelligent it is that you're a conspiracy theorist without even realizing. So, conspiracy theories for me, I love them. I'm not insane or anything, but I love the fact that these people bring up these topics that can't be proven, fully wrong. So it's fun to look at the other side. It's fun to think, maybe this happened. And it's scary at the same time. And that's what the movie allows you to do. It allows you to make up your own mind. It's not saying that Terrence is a complete nut job. It's not labeling him as, black and white. It's allowing someone to connect with Terrence, whether you believe him or you think he's a nutcase. It's allowing you to do that. It's not telling you what you should be thinking. So it's leaving it up to your interpretation, which is why I feel that this is a very intelligent horror film, and it's something that I was not expecting, to say the least. I love the conspiracy. I think a lot of people out there will love it. I thought the only problem with the conspiracy was there were certain moments where the soundtrack didn't quite fit. Now, I thought some of the soundtrack really worked, but other parts of the soundtrack I thought would have worked if it was just completely off. And it just felt like, I know it's a documentary, and I know that in documentaries you can put music into it, but some of it didn't feel authentic. It felt like it was trying to get the mood creepy, whereas it would have been just as creepy without any music. So that was my only problem with the film. I thought the characters were very likable. I didn't want anything bad to happen to them, but then, by the end of it, you're terrified, and I just thought it was a fantastic way to cap off what was a fantastic film in the end. So overall, The Conspiracy is getting 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I think this is a new direction for found footage horror films. So if you're a fan of this subgenre, I would say definitely go out there and check out The Conspiracy. Absolutely fantastic stuff, and very intelligent as well. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.